Hello! So today I'm going to be showing how I shave Misha's face. I know his face doesn't actually look that short, but I actually like to shave it every week because I just cannot stand it growing out. So there's still actually a good bit to shave off even though it looks pretty short right now. I'm going to show my process for doing that in case it proves helpful for people trying to trim their pet dogs at home. I'm not a professional groomer, he's my pet, so the techniques I use are what works for me and this particular dog. I can't say for sure, that my techniques would work best on anybody else's dog, but I'll just show what I do. I tend to be like super meticulous when I'm shaving his face, and most of the time people aren't worrying that much about how perfect it looks. So if you're watching this as an instructional video, know that you don't have to worry about all the little hairs and making it perfect the way that I do. And most people will just kind of use a 10 blade, go over the whole face, not worry about the hairs along the lips and stuff, and that's perfectly fine. I tend to take more time and go around the edges and make sure that everything is the length that I want it, and so I can be a little bit of a perfectionist when it comes to that. The two clippers that I'm going to use today to show my techniques are the Bravura. This is a cordless trimmer. I use it for a lot of things, and they work really well for shaving faces because they have 5 different blade lengths. The blade length that I'm going to do most of his face in is, well, either I use a 9 or a 10, it doesn't really matter. Today I'll probably use a 9, and this I will use kind of from back around his ear to about here on his face, and then also down on his neck. For his nose area, he's really sensitive, so I like to use my Bravmini. This is a really quiet trimmer. It basically doesn't vibrate at all, but the bad thing about it is that it only comes with a 30 blade, and 30 blade is like a surgical blade. It's really short, and I don't actually want to shave the front of his face that short, so the way I'm going to get around that is I'm going to clip the hair along with the grain of the hair. So the hair grows from the nose back towards the back of the face. For most of the hair grows that direction. And so when you're clipping the face of a poodle, you typically want to clip this way. Whoops, sorry, I'm not actually clipping, I know. And instead of doing that for the front of his face, I'm going to clip forward like this. Yeah, I'm not doing it, it's okay. He's confused. But I'm going to, hey, you, stop it. No shenanigans. I'm going to clip with the grain of the hair. This will make it clip not as close. It tends to not give you quite as much of an even clip, but I don't care. It'll look good enough, and he tolerates it much better. So that's what I'm going to use for the front of his face, just because he's really sensitive. I also find that clipping with the grain of the hair tends to be less irritating for dogs that are bothered by the vibrations. So it's kind of a good way to help your dog if your dog is really sensitive. Alright, so let me check to make sure that the view is correct. Alright, let's see, I'm trying to decide how to do the lighting. I'm probably going to just wear a headlamp like I normally do because it allows me to see his face better. And let's see, hopefully that will light him up well. Alright, that looks pretty good. Okay, So I kind of will switch around so that if he's getting bothered by me doing a certain part of his face, I'll switch and do a different one. So the order that I do things might not be completely perfect, but you know, again, it just is what works for me and him. Alright, so I'm going to start back at the corner of his ear. You gonna be good, Hey, no. Put it down. Put it down. You're gonna have to move. Come here. Now sit. Hey, sit. It can be tricky to get the skin completely, like, taut so that you're clipping everything evenly. Hey, enough. Come on. You keep it down. Up. Enough. Come on. That's a good boy. Stop. When you're trimming right next to the eye, what I like to do, hey, let me show him, come on. Stop. We're not playing. Come on. I like to trim from the corner of the eye, just straight back to the ear. And around the eye, let's see, okay. So the way that I do the eye is I'm going to start down here and do kind of a scooping up motion, so I can get those little hairs right underneath the eye. But you're not going to get them super close because they just kind of grow at a weird direction where they're kind of hard to clip, and anyway they look better if you leave them a little bit longer, so it's perfectly fine. Hey. That's good. I used to do this all in his grooming hammock, but he got really good at being well behaved, relatively, so now he doesn't need to be in the hammock anymore. But if your dog is really uncooperative, the hammock can help them to relax. So when I'm trimming like this area where he's got all this loose skin, I try to pull it taut because that's going to let me get it cut smoothly. So I'm going to kind of use these fingers to pull it down like that, but it's kind of tricky. Hey. No, pause. Put it down. And so when I judge how low to clip, come here, let me show him. I tend to just try to get it so that it's about right here, like where his jaw kind of comes up, and you have this bone here, so that's kind of the lower part, and then I just clip down a little bit on his throat. People kind of clip different amounts of the throat, so it's kind of whatever you prefer in terms of appearance. Yeah. That's a good boy. You are being good. So around the eye, the way that I clip it is I go up towards the eye in this direction to try to get these little hairs that grow in front of it. So now I'm going to switch and do the front of his nose over here. Try to give him a bit of a change. So again, I'm flipping and I'm doing this direction with this clipper. That's good. Hey, stop. Now, another point that he's really sensitive in is this area right here. I try to do that with the big clipper because I don't like to trim that with the mini clipper. It sometimes looks too close, but the way that I deal with his sensitivity there, I'm going to show you another technique. Okay, keep it down. Just keep it down, okay? Here. Alright, so I'm going to put it on his face without turning it on so that it doesn't vibrate so much, so I can place it right where I want it. And then I'm going to turn it on and clip down really quick. No. Hey. Hey. Stop. You'll be good. He always moves really quickly. There we go. So that just takes a few tries. Hey. You'll be good. That's good. Almost done. Well, not really, but with this spot. Okay. Alright, so next what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the mini trimmer and I'm going to go along his lip line. And I do that just to try to make sure that I clean it up as much as possible. Don't do that. So I just kind of pull the lips out like this to make the hairs stand up and then just trim along the lips. And you can do this with the normal size Bravura as well. I used to do that before I got the mini one, and really it works fine. The mini one's just easier to maneuver. Hey, no pause. Hey, keep it down. It's a lot harder to do the lower lip than the upper one. With the lower one, you kind of have to pull it back to get it straight. Yeah, I know. And you want to make sure that you're getting the flues properly. The flues is this area right here that tends to kind of fold over. So to get that area, you need to pull it nice and straight. Hey. I'm also going to use this on the underneath side of his chin because he's really sensitive there. Okay. Right around his nose in the very front, I'm going to actually do a reverse clip just because I like to get it really short right in front of his nose. So another thing I do with the mini clipper is I go right into the corner of the eye and get these little hairs right there, because those ones tend to be really hard to get with the bigger clipper. Hey. Alright, so I'm going to do his neck now. So I'm going to pull his head up like this and do it like that. So I'm going to fold his ears back. for your stay. Ah, keep it down. Okay, can you sit? Misha, sit. Okay. That's good. Hey, you be good? We be good? Okay, come on. Alright, so I'm pretty happy with that. Let's see if I can turn him around and get a good look. Hey, look up. Yep. I see you. All right. So that is all for today. Thank you for watching, and hopefully that was helpful for somebody out there. He's pretty good, and I will say this, when he was younger he was a lot worse with his face. He's still pretty bad with his front feet. They used to be worse too, but I mean, he's almost 2 years old and we've been working a lot, so for him to get to this point with his face is really pretty good. So if you have a dog that's really sensitive and really ticklish, you know, don't give up, just keep working with them, and you know, eventually they'll get used to it and they will not be bothered by it so much. Obviously, don't do anything that is causing your dog pain. You always want to find ways of doing it that they won't really mind. He enjoys being groomed because he gets attention and he gets treats, and he actually wants to jump up here and do stuff. So he's pretty happy to get groomed, even if he fidgets a lot. Yeah. So, thanks for watching.